Welcome back. In this video, we will explain about the first hole of your happiness balloon, devaluing happiness. Happiness is not giving much priority in our daily life. So we tend to give up happiness for the sake of the other things. Well, let me give you a scenario, so we can see how people sacrifice happiness for the sake of other things. Let's say you have an overweight boyfriend and you want him to be better look and at the same time you want him to be healthier. So you give him the advice on ways to lose weight, including eating healthy foods and going for a daily jogging exercise. However, your boyfriend doesn't listen to your advice and keep going the way as he used to be. A few months later, he talks to you about a new colleague at his work with an excitement. He tells you that colleague was good looking and he motivated him to lose weight. He tells that his colleague also advised the ways to lose weight and he would follow his colleague's advice. In fact, these pieces of advice are exactly the same as the ones you gave your boyfriend a few months earlier, which is eating healthy foods and going for jogging exercise. Now, your boyfriend has been convinced but other person to make the very changes that you have been asked him to make. What would you do in this scenario? Option A. Point out with anger to your boyfriend that his new colleague hasn't told him anything new. Or Option B. Congratulate him for his new decision. So, in this scenario, you will see that you can either be right or be happy in a relationship, but you can't be both. When we meet similar scenario in our lives, some people would choose option A, which means they sacrifice their happiness for the sake of being right. Now, we can see how people devalue happiness or sacrifice happiness for other goals. But why? There are 3 reasons why people devaluate happiness or sacrifice happiness for other goals. Let's look at the reason number 1, which is negative beliefs or misconceptions about happiness. Because of the negative beliefs, happiness has been sacrificed for other goals. Mainly, there are 3 negative beliefs about happiness. First negative belief about happiness is that happiness leads to laziness. This is the wrong belief we hold and evaluate happiness. Studies shows the opposite is true. It is found that a happy insurance salesman sells more, and a happy CEO fosters a more positive work environment, in turn, improves organization productivity. Why? Because we are more creative when we are happy. Professor Fredrickson in her book, Positivity, showed that we come up with better ideas and become more creative when are feeling positive. Second misconception about happiness is that happiness makes people selfish. In fact, we are much less self-centered and more altruistic when we are happy. Many studies confirm that happy people volunteer more for social causes. Moreover, happy people contribute more money to charity and more likely to donate blood. Professor Ed Diener mentioned in his interview that happy people help others on the job even when it's not their responsibility to do so. Third misconception about happiness is that happiness won't last long, so why value it? The answer is that depends on where your happiness is based on. If your happiness is based on sensory pleasure, it won't last long. However, if your happiness is based on love or connection, it has the potential to last much longer. Second reason why we devaluing happiness is because we fail to define in concrete terms. When something is not clearly defined, we tend to devalue it. This is because of something called fluency effect. Here is a scientific exploration of this idea. Imagine that you are looking for a drinking water and you walk into a supermarket and you come across with 2 brands. Brand A and brand B. Let's say brand A is easier to read than brand B. Which brand are you more likely to buy? Studies show that you are more likely to buy brand A. Why? Because it is easier to read and process. Similarly, we value the things that are easier to see and process. We devalue things that are difficult to see and process. That's why you are likely to devalue happiness if you are not clearly what it means to you. The third reason is medium maximization. The simple way to understand medium maximization is that we often forget what we ultimately want in life and we end up chasing the medium that are supposed to get us what we ultimately want. Money is the classic medium. Money is just a piece of paper and it has little value by itself. The only reason we want money is because it can help us get things like house, car, vacation or medicine which brings us happiness. But many of us seem to forget this and we start chasing money as if it were the end goal. However, it is not just money that distracts us from happiness. Other goals like status and fame do it, too, and many don't realize that we are sacrificing happiness for the sake of other goals. Let's look at the example in which John went to a buffet restaurant. John, who is a vegetable lover, sees variety of choices and think meat is generally more expensive and choosing it to eat is better choice for the good value for the money he paid. In fact, he enjoys eating vegetable. He finally pick more meat than vegetable. He sacrifices his happiness of eating vegetable for another goal which is good value for money. This example shows how easily we can be deviated by medium maximization.